Yeah, hi there, that's right. My name's Nick Dutch, and I broadcast stuff on this YouTube channel, stuff that's been going on inside my mind, something to do with the kind of work I do and the kind of world that I'm involved in. But I also, just share some of my observations, thoughts and feelings with reference to the outer world. There is a real problem to having done quite a few YouTube videos. I don't want to have to repeat myself, but once in a while I feel the need to. On one of my videos, I mentioned the idea of loyalty and the fact that loyalty is used as a way of trying to make people do what someone else wants them to do. Whether that's, within a religion, within like a social club, whether that's within a political party, whether that's just, your local sewing circle or whatever. The fact of the matter is, loyalty is used, or the concept of loyalty is used for the purposes of controlling people and trying to get people working for other people in one form or another. Therefore, loyalty, which is a concept that we normally associate with some variety of moral virtue, can in fact be a very dangerous thing. Maybe loyalty is one of the things which makes people want to do terroristic activities because they are loyal to, or have a feeling of loyalty to, or obligation as a result of loyalty to an apparent theological perspective or an apparent political perspective. But I touched upon an idea in my last video, and that was about warfare and the fact that humans are always in a state of ideological conflict. And of course, when you're sitting down in your nice comfortable living room having a nice cup of tea, you might think where's the conflict? There's no war happening here. But of course, if you spend a bit of time just on YouTube, which is just a website where people put up content, alright, possibly on other websites like MySpace, the blogging section there, you see that there is conflict between individuals, conflict between ideologies, people trying to defend a religious perspective, or people trying to attack or undermine another point of view, often using tactics which might even be disingenuous. But what about warfare? Can we strike some kind of parallel between my feelings on the subject of loyalty and also the concept of warfare itself? When I was going through the mill of Wicca and paganism, I would read up about different books on the subject. And once in a while I would come across a particular author or authoress who was regarded or billed as being someone who fought hard to protect or defend the craft. Obviously, there was no mention of how many people fell during the bloody battles to protect the craft, but that's another issue entirely. But let's just think about the words, the phraseology, the individual who has fought hard. It almost sounds like they're a martyr, that they're giving their entire life for a particular cause. It's placing them on a pedestal. And it's also creating the feeling in the audience, in the readers of the book in question, or indeed just like the summary on the back cover, that it is morally appropriate to go out and fight for something, to go and fight for this particular cause, as if it doesn't matter that you've taken on board the content of the religion itself, the ideology, the doctrine, how that interacts with the human mind, the human condition. That's not as important as fighting for. So we got a couple of different forces there which are being used for the purposes of maintaining a status quo or undermining a status quo. One of them being loyalty to an apparent cause, and the fact that loyalty is some kind of moral or saintly thing. And the other one is this warfare attitude, the idea that you've got to go out and fight. Very powerful concepts. Now, I'm sure you've noticed, if you've been looking into the conspiracy theories, that the same kind of idea is there, we must fight the New World Order. Yeah, right, okay, fine, okay. For the underneath strapping on your straitjackets, do you dress to the left or to the right, sir? So these two concepts, loyalty to a particular position and the desire to fight for, or the obligation, the commandment, as it were, to fight for, these things can quite easily override an individual's objectivity and rationality. Are there people out there who feel they've got to fight for the atheist cause? Are there people out there who feel they've got to fight for the Christian cause? Is there a sense of loyalty and tribalism towards atheism or Christianity? These are interesting things to bear in mind. But if a person was to move away from these concepts of loyalty to, or we have to fight for, what would be left? What would be left would be the ideas which are underlying whatever it is they think they're being loyal to or fighting for, which might in fact be completely different than the actions that they're putting into place when they're going out and fighting for something or being loyal to something. I would say I'm talking about some of the things which assist in the creation of a fundamentalist. Something which takes a person who could say, well, okay, these teachings are great, yeah, well, maybe I'll apply some of them to my life, onto someone who thinks, yeah, we've got to take an MK-47 or whatever the name for that type of gun is and go and kill someone, or strap a bomb to my body and blow something up, or set up a YouTube blog which is going to attack and eventually undermine a particular religion or a particular cause, or trying to create a new particular religion or particular cause. But we can still see these mechanisms, and I really do feel that they are mechanisms, in operation, which is taken away from people the ability to actually be objective to the ideas that they're looking at. I mean, think about the skeptical community for one time. I mean, I've had strange experiences, I find it hard to understand them, and I tried to discuss them in a debate on the Skeptics Forum at one time. And although at that time in my life, which was many, many years ago, I didn't know there was such a thing as setting up a straw man, but on retrospect I can look back at the tactics that were being used by the skeptics, and I see that they were just as disingenuous, just as dishonest, as those used by the extremist fundamentalist creationists. Why? Because they're fighting for a cause. They're fighting to protect an apparent ideology through essentially being hurtful and being very difficult to deal with, and of course going contrary to the ethos of the search for the truth. And when people are doing that, going contrary to the ethos of the search for the truth, what actually happens? Well, the waters get muddied, and the truth can no longer be found, and it's just an argument between one lot of misrepresentations and another lot of misrepresentations, and those who are being attacked feel the need to either be just as disingenuous back, or maybe just to straight out lie. If we're going to stop being people who are just interested in the battle and not interested in being loyal, what we could end up becoming is people who have the ability to objectively and rationally actually analyze information and points of view, and to see whether there are some benefits in some and some benefits in others. And I suppose I'm also being rather disingenuous because I've got my own message to promote, and I'm using this particular video to be able to do so. So maybe there's something wrong with my argument as well. That's just a maybe. Or am I merely pointing out the ways in which people are being dishonest? Well, I'm going to have to let you decide that one, I'm sorry. But the basic fact of the matter is, there are issues with loyalty, and there are issues with the desire for conflict or warfare. I mean, just look for a moment at your own religion, or your own political party, or your own social organization, or maybe a sect or a sector of something that you're a member of. Look closely at the arguments that are being presented, and just see where the honesty is and where the dishonesty is, and where people are trying to set up the various straw man so as to be able to protect the whole status quo, or to protect the ideology. Ask yourself, are these people trying to make themselves be impressive? Are they trying to place a veneer over their own ideas so as to do themselves personally some good, to sell themselves as martyrs, to sell themselves to other people as being saintly protectors or defenders of the faith? Think for a while as to how comfortable you feel as being part of that ideology when you see that other people are using these tactics. You know, muddying the waters, even making your own position seem a little tenuous. making it seem as if your people are only interested in the fight and not interested in the truth. It probably doesn't represent you all that well, does it? No. Because you might not be of that ideology. You might not have that interpretation of what they're talking about. And if you don't have that interpretation, you're probably a better person, male or female, young, old, I don't care, a better person than the other people who are promoting this disingenuous, lying, cheating, stealing, evil rubbish. Now, maybe you can actually do something positive and constructive. You could actually broadcast here on YouTube about what the ideas inherent within your own ideology really are. And also say, but be honest, say both the positive things and the negative things about that, and the ones you disagree with and why you think you disagree with them, so that other people can get a more balanced impression as to who you personally are and where you're coming from. I mean, being moderate doesn't just mean sitting back and doing nothing. I mean, I could quite easily become someone who very aggressively defends the occult, and if I was to do that, I would have to be using very dishonest tactics, and I don't want to have to do that. I want to try and be honest and give a middle ground, so to speak, attitude, and that middle ground attitude is basically, if there's something that I don't know, I've got to turn around to you and say I don't know it. There's so few people out there who are comfortable with just being, and would rather be the person who's the knight in shining armor, riding a white steed and brandishing Excalibur, who's going to defeat the evil infidel, or defeat the evil atheist, or the evil Christian, or the evil Muslim, Jew, whatever. It's pathetic, considering that we humans are the most highly evolved creatures on the face of the planet. Or so some people would say, but come off it. Pretty bloody funny, you must admit. I mean, what is it you personally want to be able to achieve for yourself, for your life? How would you like to create the future for yourself? I mean, if it wasn't the choice of other people, if it was your choice, personally speaking, would you actually choose the battlefield? Or would you choose the loyalty to the cause? Or would you choose an environment in which you can just live, work, play, and get on with living and growing and learning and prospering? What would it be? And what could you do today to help bring that about? This has been the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch, having a quick ramble at the camera, and I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.